Tiki here on the Fan. Evan and Sean still on vacation. So you have Tommy Lugauer, you have Tiki Barber, and Tiki, this series for the Yankees against the Red Sox, in my opinion, is the biggest series of the season for the Yankees. We talked about yesterday how the Yankees have been bullying these lesser teams, sort of flexing their muscles. They're setting records left and right for home runs. And what I wanted to see from this team before I anointed them a championship contender is the ability to put all the little things together against a good team. And the Red Sox fit that bill just because of the rivalry, what this game means, where we are at in the standings, 4-game set. Teak, this is the biggest series of the season for the Yankees.
Well, I mean, what you're saying makes sense, Tommy, because it's the next series. And as any sports team or coach or player will tell you, the next one is always more important. Regardless of what happened before, the next one in line is most important. But I think what you're saying and what you're alluding to is exactly right. It feels like this rivalry means something again. We had that debate early on in the year. Who was the biggest Yankee rival? I think that was actually before the season started. And I kind of thought the Dodgers, that was probably recency bias because of what just happened in the World Series and the fact that the Dodgers are spending a ridiculous amount of money to try to be great, even though injuries have crept in because it's just baseball. Sean thought that it was Sean thought it was the Red Sox. I think Evan thought it was the Mets. But when it comes down to it, and you have a chance to get within another game or so of the Toronto Blue Jays in this division, this series against the Boston Red Sox means more than I think any of these Boston Red Sox series have met in a while. Because the Sox haven't been great. But this year, they're right there competing. So this one means a ton, especially if the Yankees find a way to pull through in all four.
Yeah, I had this take in the offseason. To me, the Red Sox over the last couple years have been napping. Like, right. They won their championships. They sold off some players. Even this year, they sold off Devers, but obviously they sold off Mookie Betts. And they feel like they've kind of been napping. They've been a little dormant. I know they had the wild card win over the Yankees a couple years ago, but I'm just talking about the last, few years. To me, in this division, it felt like it was going to be the Orioles. And then this year, Toronto came out of nowhere. But going into the season, I felt like the one team, if I'm a Yankee fan, that I wouldn't want to see wake up from their nap, it would be the Boston Red Sox. And that's why I felt like Brian Cashman should have signed Alex Bregman. You allowed him to go to the Red Sox. He's having a good season. He's hitting around 300. He obviously has that Astro blood in him. He's not afraid of the Yankees. And it feels like a guy like Alex Bregman is a perfect fit for the Boston Red Sox. And this is a Red Sox team led by their manager who is not going to be afraid or intimidated by the Yankees. Like, let's be honest, the Minnesota Twins, they are afraid of the Yankees. That's a big reason why they can't beat them.
Even if they say all the right things.
Yeah, they are quivering in fear anytime they go into Yankee Stadium. That's something that the Red Sox will not do. That's something that a team led by Alex Cora, when you have guys like Alex Bregman on the team, they are not going to be scared. They are, even though they've been scuffling just a little bit over the last 10 games or so, they are up for this task, and it's up to the Yankees now to do something they have not done a lot this year, and that's match the intensity of the moment. Let's be real here, Teak. Last night, and I understand that everything that went down in Tampa with what happened with their stadium, they're in a tough spot.
Right.
But that was a Yankee home game. I mean, it was. I mean,
it felt like it. Giancarlo Stanton goes yard, the 2-run home run in the 10th inning. Like it was celebratory. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, that's a groaning. We're probably going to lose this game. It was celebratory. So if you're the Yankees, you feel comfortable. Right? I mean, the hardest thing in any sport is being uncomfortable.
Right.
The Yankees weren't uncomfortable down at Steinbrenner Field.
Yep. So when Schlittler, and if he had pitched a perfect game, Teague, that was really going to test the Schlittler test here, because I was like, I'm watching this and I'm like, I'm going to have to say Cam Schlittler's name
100,000 times.
And I'm sorry, if you take 100 shots, you're going to miss one. Now we do have a dump button, but that would be an unfortunate situation. It did not happen, but yeah. I didn't hear or see one Tampa fan the entire night. Point is, you're going to have some Red Sox fans there tonight. You know they like to make the trek down. Now I think it'll be the majority of Yankee fans. Tonight will be so intense. It's going to be just absolutely electric. And I think this is a spot where the Yankees have to show that they can match the intensity, because really specifically the games in Toronto, it felt like the Blue Jays were more prepared,
yes,
more ready to go. And care is a tough word to throw out there, so I don't want to throw it out there.
I know,
but they were more up for it, and the Yankees weren't. They just treated it like it was a game against the Rays in a minor league park. That's not what tonight is. They got to be more intense.
Yeah, I know what you mean about regarding the Blue Jays, and this has been the complaint for the Yankees for a lot of this season. Even when things were going well, it kind of was just business as usual. Business as usual. We're going on a business trip. Let's just, dot the I's and cross the T's, and we're good enough to win a lot of these games. And by the way, we saw it for a lot of the season. But then all of a sudden, when you hit that point, and it's a lull that happens in every Major League Baseball team season, it's just natural. It just occurs. You can't really fight it unless you're having one of those epic years and you're going to win 115 games or so. You're going to go through a lull. And the way to get out of that lull is not just hey, we'll get there eventually. It's this game has to mean more. Right, this series has to mean more, and I think for the Yankees, because they found their way out of that doldrum that they were in, winning 5 in a row, St. Louis, and obviously these 2 against the Tampa Rays. I think it's important to now really jack up the urgency. And look, I don't think you're going to get that internally. I don't think you're going to get rah-rah speeches, because let's face it, Aaron Judge is not that kind of leader for this team. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't even think Giancarlo Stanton, who probably is one of the most meaningful voices in that clubhouse, none of them are that way. Volpe's not. Like, the pitcher's staff is not. Maybe Garrett Cole quietly was, but he's not around. Right? This needs to be Aaron Boone-led. This game means something. It's bigger than just 1 of 162 or 4 of 162 because of the series that they have. I think the urgency needs to be expressed, because this game and this series means a ton for the Yankees going forward.
Yeah, absolutely, because now the Yankees have put themselves in a position where obviously the focus is Boston, obviously the focus is the wild card, but when you're sitting there and you're, 4 games back of Toronto at technically 5 with the tiebreaker. And look, that's a little bit more down the road. But when you look at the schedule after Boston, you have the Nationals, you have the White Sox. If they could take, because I've heard from some Yankee fans, well, let's just get a split. And to me, that's kind of like a loser mentality. Yeah. You want to take 3 out of 4. Heck, you want to sweep and propel yourselves into the softer part of the schedule, and then you could start to dream even bigger. Now, division is great, wild card is great. My feeling all along with this baseball team is I want to see the fire, I want to see the intensity, and I want to see the little things. And I don't want to see them, I mean, if they do it against Washington, that's one thing, or if they do it against the White Sox, that's one thing. Do it against the Astros. Do it against the Red Sox, meaning when a team bullies you, bully them back. It's easy to bully the weak teams. Bully the teams and do the little things against the Red Sox and Astros and Tigers of the world. And they have an opportunity over the next 4 days to do that against the Red Sox.
Yeah, it does. And I got to tell you, I like where they are, even though it was against the Tampa Rays, basically at home. I mean, not basically. It is at home. It's their spring training facility. Right. And then in the St. Louis Cardinals, who just aren't putting up a fight right now. I appreciate what they've done, but I actually like what they've kind of become in this little stretch here, this 5-game stretch. And really, it starts with some of the pitching and what Cam has been able to do, and even Devin Williams closing out that game, even though he gave one back. It felt like dominance. And when this 5-game streak started, one of the things that Evan and I were talking about was it's so much easier to win when you get length from your starting pitching. It's so much more comfortable, and you feel more confident as a position player when your pitcher's going out there and throwing zeros, right, and putting up zeros for the other team. And so, to me, for the Yankees, it's going to all be about pitching, right? When you look at, say, some of the Mets issues, it's been starting pitching. Well, how did they get back? Starting pitching, David Peterson. How do the Yankees get back? It's starting pitching. And I think right now they're sitting with a couple of good starters that makes you feel confident about them going forward down the rest of this season.
Yeah, and I look at a guy like Max Fried, who we discussed earlier in the week, whether or not the Yankees have a Max Fried problem, which I think they do. And look, he had a great first half, and he pitched just unbelievable, but he's flat out been awful for what feels like months now. And these are the type of series, these are the type of the moments when Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner write a big fat check to Max Fried, it's for moments like this. It's not for starts against, Tampa or starts against Cleveland.
Right.
It's for starts against the Red Sox, postseason. That's where the contract, which I was critical of, I think it's too many years, too much money, and he's already in his 30s.
I mean, you almost got to win a World Series in the next 2 or 3 years
to justify
make it worth it.
Exactly,
right,
because look at where Garrett Cole's at right now,
Right.
and no fault of his own. He's older. He's not going to be able to stay healthy. When you sign these type of contracts long term with guys in their 30s, you will gladly eat the money in the years at the back end.
100%.
If you win a championship, you're looking for the first 3 to 4 years of Max Fried here. So we are now in that, and he's already showing signs of decline. Now, that could just be an injury, or he's just going through it, or
Right.
things leveling off. But this is where a guy like Max Fried needs to step up. Like you said, the starting rotation. And when you look at the bullpen, which Bednar has been great, but he was bad last night. He was bad in his first start. I'm not ready to say that Devin Williams was back because he was still an adventure last night. And
He was, but he felt like he was in control, at least.
At least it felt like he was in control,
Right.
and he struck out the side there to end that inning. But you got to see way more from Devin Williams, because honestly, let's be real. If Devin Williams blew that game last night, the take is it's a fireable offense to put this
of
guy in
course.
any close game. So
100%.
I think that sometimes you can't just be results oriented. I still think that was an awful decision by Aaron Boone to go to Devin Williams there, because he's not good. He's not confident. And I understand regaining that confidence. And maybe that does propel a Devin Williams there, because he was very animated after he closed out the game. But if you lose that game going into the Red Sox series, to me, it's obviously they'll never fire him, but it is a fireable offense to put Williams in any spot where you're not either up 10 or down 10.
Right? You're an idiot.
I got to tell you, like when it became that situation, when David Bednar gave up the lead, basically stole the win from Cam Schlittler, and obviously going into the 10th inning, you knew you weren't throwing him back out there because of how many pitches he threw getting through the ninth. Like you knew Devin Williams was going to get another chance, but they were up 3, right? Because of Stan's home run and then Wells' home run. I don't want to say it was low leverage, because it clearly it wasn't, but it almost felt low leverage in a sense, because I didn't have faith that the Rays were going to find a way to, cobble together 3 runs unless he truly blew it. And so I thought it was a confidence boosting opportunity. So I didn't mind the Aaron Boone going to Devin Williams in that moment, because it wasn't like you're holding a 1-run lead, or it's tied and you have to get a hold.
Yeah,
here.
but with the guy on, why I disagree with you a little bit is whenever you have a runner on second base, to me that changes the dynamic, because you already have a guy on and you're dealing with a pitcher that is clearly not confident. If you want to tell me he can't handle New York, and honestly, we mentioned this with Ryan Helsley when he got his, perfect inning, or not perfect inning, but clean inning in Williamsport. Maybe this is good for Devin Williams to just be at a home away from home game, because that's what last night was. Again, I know this might sound like I'm complaining. I understand that Tampa clearly was dealt a horrible hand, and good on the Yankees for helping them out. But it's clearly a Yankee home game.
It's not fair. It's not fair. It's barely fair.
No, you said it right, because I said this to my friends last night, but I'm glad you said it, because if I say it, people are going to be like, oh, Tommy's sour grapes.
Right.
It's completely and utterly not fair. But it's an unfair situation, and Mother Nature just took over, and there's nothing you can do about it. But it's absolutely unfair.
Right.
Now,
Against the Red Sox, is it fair? Of course. Red Sox have no dog down there.
Right.
Against any other team other than the Yankees, it's not fair.
Correct. 888-808-1019 is the number to call. Yankees, the biggest series of the season for them. Let's go to Rich in Danbury. What's up, Rich? Yellow.
Hey, Rich.
All right, Rich was going to say, this is what I was guessing here with Rich, Teague. He was going to say, he loves you. You should be in the Hall of Fame. He's met you a couple of times. And the other fella that you're working with, the gentleman you're working with, I've heard him once or twice on the weekend. He sounds pretty good. When is Evan coming back?
Right, he's going to be a generational talent.
Exactly. He's got Riz for days. He's the total package. 888-808-1019 is the number to call. Steve is in Bayside. What's up, Steve?
What's up, Luggie? You are making so much sense today. It's frightening me.
Well, here's the thing, Steve. Well, I'll let you finish.
Did you listen yesterday, Steve?
And that's what he's alluding to. That felt very passive-aggressive. As a married man, I know passive aggression, and I work with Evan. That was extremely passive-aggressive. What you're implying to the audience is that I made no sense the last 3 days. Is that what you're saying, or did I misinterpret that?
No, I'm just talking about today. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. You are making a lot of sense today.
Well, I appreciate that.
I've agreed with almost everything that you've been saying. This is a big series. This is the series that, for me personally, is the benchmark as to whether or not I'm really going to start believing in this team again, because beating up a bunch of bad teams doesn't mean that much to me. Also, the fact that the teams that I was starting to believe in, the Astros and the Mariners, are both going in the tank right now. This is the craziest baseball season I've ever seen.
Well, Steve, let me just interrupt you. Steve, one real quick here, and then I'll let you finish. I think the baseball trade deadline, which was awesome, which was wild, I think it was an clear indication that there is not a one great team. Right. Every team thinks they're in it. There is parity. That's why you got so many moves, and that's why, depending on what day you wake up, which team is the best team, which team is falling off. It's a roller coaster for basically every team in baseball. You name a team, they've kind of gone through it, ups and downs this year. So that's why you almost have to take a step back and look at the overall view of where the team's at, because nothing has been permanent. There's been ups and downs, roller coasters for every team in baseball this season.
Once again, I agree with you 100%. And the Red Sox, by the way, the Yankees have to take it to the Red Sox this weekend. The Red Sox, for all the complaints about the Yankee defense, which they've tightened up lately, and there was some reasons for that, getting Jazz where he belongs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. The Red Sox lead the American League in errors. For as well as they've been playing, they're leading the American League in errors the last time I checked, which was a few days ago. So the Yankees need to be able to take advantage of that, and that's a very young team that they have over there. The Yankees need to take at least 3 out of 4, and then we'll be off to the races.
Yeah, Steve, I agree with you. To me, it's a 3 out of 4 sweep scenario. Obviously, sweep is shooting for the stars, but right. I don't think they should be kissing their sister. It should not be a split. It should not be an NYS, a New York split. You have to win 3 out of 4 here to make a statement, not only to the Boston Red Sox, not only to Major League Baseball, but to your fans that this is a Yankee team, let's be real, that a lot of times is very just unserious. They are. They're a very unserious country club-like team. This is a Boston Red Sox team that is young, scrappy, led by one of the best managers in baseball that is fearless. If you take 3 out of 4 in this series, you get a great start from Fried tomorrow night. That is where I will feel at least a little differently about this club come, Monday.
Yeah, well, I think it's actually more important tonight for Luis Gil, because if Luis Gil pitches like he has his second 2 starts. His first start, he got a little wayward. But if he pitches like his second 2 and really gets deep and feels like he was in last season's form, then all of a sudden you feel outstanding about this rotation, even if Max Fried is kind of jacked up and losing his way a little bit. Carlos Rodon is still going to be a strikeout machine. If Cam Schlittler can just rear back and throw 99, feels like every pitch, and then mix up some of that off-speed stuff like he did yesterday and got those guys swinging, through nothing, then you start to feel okay about this Yankees rotation. Whereas 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, you were terrified about what the Yankees might have in store for the postseason.
Yeah, I want to hear from the Yankee fans today, especially the ones that are going to the game, because as a Met fan, I still always found and appreciated for various reasons. You could probably pick the reasons why, but I always loved Yankees Red Sox. And I grew up on the Ortiz, Ramirez, Varitek, Jeter, A-Rod, Pedro, the fights, the bloody sock, the history, which has been lost in recent years. I mean, we had a little bit of it with the Four Fingers with Cole and Devers, but neither one of those guys are here right now. So you can't even lean on that. That was the biggest storyline over the last couple of years. I want to know if the Yankee fan is, obviously you're jazzed up because of how the team's playing and where they're at in the standings, but Yankees Red Sox, does it still mean what it used to you? Has it gotten back to where it used to be? If you're going to the game, even if you're not going to the game, are you pumped up and excited, not just for where they're at, but specifically to play the Red Sox? I would be very curious because to me, it's the best rivalry in all of baseball, but it hasn't been over the last couple years. 888-808-1019 is a number to call. Let's go to Ira in the Bronx. What's up, Ira?
How you doing?
Hey.
How you doing, Tiki?
All's good, Ira.
I was just wondering, I agree that it's bad when teams bully on bad teams, and then when they have to play the good teams, they don't do very well. Washington Nationals, I can't wait to see when they play a good team, after bullying teams like the Mets.
Well, Ira, I'm glad that you brought this up because I got this a lot on last night, and I think, and you're not alone, and I'm not going to talk down to anybody, but I believe people misinterpreted what I said yesterday. And what
I don't think I did.
No, I think you did, Ira. Because no, Ira, that's not how it goes. You can't take a shot at me, and then when I respond, you just cut me off. You have to listen because I think that you're not alone here.
But I have something to say also.
That's fine, and I'll debate whether or not I'll allow you to say that. I'm joking. So what I said yesterday is the Yankees in the Boone Judge, King Aaron Judge era tend to be a team that bullies the bad teams, but when they play the good teams, they come up small. Right?
Sometimes, yes, they do.
Okay. I never once said the Mets are incapable or not capable of losing to a bad team. So I don't understand the correlation other than this is like when your sister and your girl, whatever, borrows your hairbrush and you go to mom and go, well, she started it. Like, I don't understand the I never once said that. My point is that you have to beat the good teams. Do the Mets have to beat the bad and good teams too? Absolutely. I just don't understand why it comes back to, well, what about the Mets? It had nothing to do with the Mets.
Well, let me make my point.
Go ahead.
Is in the beginning of the year, the Mets played Washington, Miami,
yes, they did.
Washington,
yes, they
Pittsburgh,
did. Yes, they
Minnesota, and they beat them, which they should have.
Yes.
But you got a false sense of being good, and then there came the good teams, and you didn't do so well in June and July.
Yes.
And you've lost 13 out of 15. They weren't to bad teams. They were to good teams. Now you're playing back against the bad teams. And you're all peacocking about how we're good. And
come on, Ira, real quick.
Today, are you going to say that they're...
Ira. The Yankees sample size of being a team like this that bully, because I did say this yesterday, and you said I didn't have to say it again, but clearly you didn't hear this part.
I agree with you. I'm a Yankee fan, and I agree with you.
So the sample size is bigger.
Lose to bad to good teams all the time.
If the Mets do this for
that's the way all good.
Ira, I love you. I can't talk over you the whole time. What I would say is that if the Mets, and I said this yesterday, if we have a sample size of 6 or 7 years of where the Mets do this, then we can criticize them for
it. Well, the challenge is you don't know who this Mets team. What's the identity long term of this Mets team? You can't determine it yet because it's relatively new in a sense. You have obviously Juan Soto just brand new here. Brett Beatty, as much as it feels like he's been on this team for 3 or 4 years, he's kind of been up and down. This is really the only year that he's kind of stuck here. Mark Vientos is only in his second season after having an unbelievable last half of last season. So you think about the team. It's not the same. I mean, there's pieces that are the same, obviously, with Lindor and Pete Alonso and Nimmo and McNeil and those guys. But as a unit, you don't know what they're going to repeatedly do come ends of regular seasons or postseasons. You've only seen it one time, right? And so I think what your point about the Yankees is that it feels like it's always the same Yankees.
Bingo.
Right? It's even if it's a different season, the circumstances are different. They win 95 games or 105 games. It feels the same.
Correct.
The Mets, we don't have a long enough track record.
Exactly.
At least not with an actual good team.
Yeah.
We have a track record with bad teams that will lose, games that they weren't supposed to lose and, disappoint their fan base year over year over year. But this feels like a new era of Mets baseball. And what they're ultimately going to be defined by, it hasn't been identified yet.
Exactly. And I knew it was coming today because I got it all last night on social media. And this is where I think people... They heard what I said, but they weren't listening.
They didn't.
They just heard, Tommy is trying to discredit the Yankees for beating up on bad teams. That is not what I said, and if that's how you interpret it, then that's the way you interpret it.
The problem is, Tommy, they listen to you instead of listening to me. And so what I said, because I didn't disagree with you, but I just said, it's what they're supposed to do. You're supposed to beat up on the bad team.
I agree with that.
Of course.
I just want to see them do it against the elite teams and do the little things things right and the fundamentals, when they do that, and I see that from an Aaron Boone-led team consistently, I will anoint them a championship team. Everybody took that and then said, well, the Mets lost to the Nationals. The Mets and what they're doing and what they're going through right now as a franchise and as a season is a different animal. And I feel like when you come out with well, what about the Mets? That is your way of deflecting what's going on with your team onto what's going on with my team, because you know I'm right, but you don't want to agree with me because I wear my hat backwards, or you think I'm 5'2". I'm 5'10", by the way. So that's really all it comes down to. So Tiki, as always, the voice of reason. Tiki, as always, breaks up the fights, and that's what makes you great, Tiki. And by the way, we have a lot coming up here on the show today. We have, obviously, football tonight. We have, I think, Jackson Dart. Now, Teek's out there. Maybe you have some intel here, but there's some rumors and innuendos that our Bay, Jackson Dart, will be starting the game tonight. Is that something you can neither deny or confirm?
Maybe we'll get to it at some point.
Okay, that'll be coming up later in the show. We will address what happened last night with the Mets. I have a Giancarlo Stanton take that I want to get Tiki's opinion on. That's the first time I called you Evan all week. I think that's fair.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, I know.
You know I don't look anything like him.
Well, no, to say the least. I don't know if you have any characteristics that are the same, although Evan is balding a little bit. All right, 888-808-1019. We'll get into some Jet talk, too.